For today's review, it's a movie about King George VI, where the pivotal, crucial, incredibly important moment in this film is where he has to get up in front of a microphone and speak. This was originally titled Prince Albert in a Can. That didn't test well, so instead they named it The King's Speech. This is the 2010 winner for Best Picture of the Year. Won a whole bunch of other awards too. Well, won four in total. Best Picture, Best Actor for Colin Firth, playing George VI, and original screenplay, and it also won for Tom Hooper, the director of the film. I really like it. I think it's a really good movie. And what I like about this most is that, you kind of think of whoever these people are who decide however to make these movies. Maybe they're sitting in a room or something like that. Well, let's make a movie about King George VI. There's an interesting story there. He was the King of England during World War II, kind of led the people, but there's some family drama in there as well, with his brother kind of being a degenerate when steps down from the throne, and George has to take over. There's interesting stuff there. And, maybe let's throw in a scene where he's, like, talking to his daughter, like, "Oh, Elizabeth, you're gonna be a very important lady one day," or something like that. And to a certain extent, more or less, it has that kind of stuff. But instead of being like a straight biopic of this king, what it focuses on, and what makes this such a good movie and stands out the way it does, and I suppose ended up being as acclaimed as it was, is that it focuses on his affliction of his speech impediment, his stammering, where in different, circumstance, they could have avoided that and not even mentioned that entirely, but instead that's the focus of this movie, which I think is great. So it is all about his struggles with his stammering and trying to find help for it, and finally turning to a sort of controversial speech therapist played by Jeffrey Rush, and finding that they develop kind of a friendship, and they're able to solve his affliction. So the movie's about overcoming an affliction, and kind of when you start into the movie, it is kind of like you kind of sort of think, oh, well, boo-hoo, Mr. Royal Highness isn't able to speak well. What do I care? Well, how am I invested in this? Which the movie, that's another thing of how kind of clever it is in the way it's able to invest you, because that is, an integral part of the movie where it is, so it's a universal type of thing where, it doesn't just have to be this king who's not able to speak, and why it is so important that he does. He has to lead the people of a nation. He has to do something important. He has to rise up to the occasion when, his brother can't really fit the bill for king. So it's about who's the person that you can be if you overcome this affliction that you have, and kind of what's the cause of the affliction, and you find the cause and kind of therapy sessions, quasi-therapy sessions that they have. So, it's something universal, whether it is leading an entire nation, whether it is going to, like, a job interview, whether it's just communicating with the people you love. There is something universal in that particular type of speech impediment, and how to solve it, how to overcome it. So there's that, and there certainly is there is a way that it addresses kind of the class thing, where King George, well, he begins as a duke at the time, Albert Bertie, as he's affectionately known to those who are his close friends, and the speech therapist, Lionel, played by Jeffrey Rush, starts referring to him as that as well. He begins kind of a little bit snobbish. He obviously has a short temper and everything like that, but what he kind of admits is that he has sort of lost touch with the common man, so to speak, doesn't really understand him. And Lionel, being someone like that, in their therapy sessions, in their friendship, he's kind of able to gain an understanding of that. So he's able to gain certain confidence through, going back to kind of how this stammering started, and how it kind of worsened because of his father, George V, because of his brother, Edward, played by Guy Pearce, by the way. Really great in his role. He often goes kind of overlooked in the great performances in this movie. And, Michael Gambon as well, playing George V. But how they kind of made fun of him, pestered him, things like that in his life, so he kind of overcomes that. And being the man he can be, the man who would be king if only he could get over this affliction, which I think really drives that message home. And it is inspiring. It's an inspiring kind of movie where, we can achieve greatness if we overcome these little tiny things. So I think it is really effective in that way. And I think it's a very entertaining movie. I mean, it has a good sense of humor. The performances are great. Jeffrey Rush is great. Colin Firth is great. Helena Bonham Carter playing the Queen Mother. She's great. Great supporting cast, as I mentioned. So I do think because of the angle they took, because of how they waste such an importance on this aspect of the stammering, of overcoming that, and able to achieve greater things, because that's kind of what, at least what this movie kind of sets up, is that the whole fate of the nation kind of depends on that, because he has to be inspiring to the people, so he's able to do that through learning, through Lionel. He has to deliver a great inspiring speech. War against Germany, World War II is inevitable at this juncture, so they need someone to look to in these hard times. And certainly that's not going to be Edward, and there's the whole subplot there that I think they showed just enough of, with him being with a woman who's been twice divorced, and he's just kind of not kingly. He's like, goes to the party and says, "What have you been doing this whole time?" "Oh, I've been kinging." "Oh, kinging, okay, well, whatever." So he's really good in the role, and so because he's able to overcome his not just the stammering, but it is a lack of confidence in himself, and I think through that relationship with Lionel, he kind of he sees that he can be this great man, and he doesn't kind of want to admit it to himself, and he's able to do that. So I think it's a great relationship between the two, and I love learning that at the end of all these movies they kind of show like the little text, and it's like, oh, blah 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 went on to blah blah blah. Well, I love the fact that it says, well, they remained friends for the rest of their lives, which is nice. So yeah, I think it's a really good movie. It won Best Picture, kind of like a safe choice. Like, this is. I'd say for the most part, it's a safe movie that you can watch with the family, except for maybe that there is one scene, well, a couple of scenes here and there where there is some foul language. Probably like the funniest scene in the movie where it's like, "Oh, you don't seem to stammer when you swear," and he's like, fuck, shit, fuck, titties." And it's pretty funny. So that got an R rating because of that, at least in America. In Canada, I think it's rated a 14A here, so it's not too bad. More reasonable ratings in Canada, I'd say. And one other thing that was kind of weird, I remember like maybe a couple of months or even like a year after the movie was out, after it swept the Oscars and all that stuff, it was kind of revealed or discovered that like the set, like where Lionel has his office for the speech therapy, apparently that was used for a whole bunch of like gay porn, which is very weird. And like I remember seeing these articles like showing these pictures and stuff like that, these buff guys with shirts off and like censored. But yeah, look that up if you're interested in knowing that in the same room in which Oscar winners Colin Firth and Jeffrey Rush delivered performances in an Oscar-winning movie, dudes were banging each other. But anyway, did it deserve to win Best Picture? Is what I always kind of ask. I can see why it did win. There were other movies that year that I thought were better. I liked Inception a lot better. I thought that was more like a unique kind of movie. It was kind of, at the time it seemed like it was kind of like a neck and neck between The King's Speech and The Social Network. King's Speech more kind of a traditional kind of Oscar-friendly movie. Social Network was a little more like a contemporary type of movie. I would have rather seen The Social Network win, to be honest. But I'm, glad it won the awards that it did. Colin Firth is really good in his performance. A great performance from a great actor. I almost would even say that Jeffrey Rush deserved Best Supporting Actor, but we had Christian Bale that year, so I mean that was pretty a close call. But all in all, I think this is a very good movie, very entertaining. You kind of have to be in the right mood for it. I'll say this, I've seen the movie twice, just to get it fresh in my mind. I watched it last night. The last time I watched it was actually when it was in theaters, so that's 5 years ago. So maybe every 5 years you can bust it out and watch it. But the thing is, if you're in the right mood for it, once you get into it, it's an excellent film, highly enjoyable, entertaining, funny, and I think just an inspiring film, which is the important aspect here, and why I appreciate why they took the angle that they took in overcoming this affliction. So definitely check it out if you haven't already. The King's Speech, Oscar winner, Best Picture. More reviews to come this month. 31 days of Oscar. We're just getting started here, so stay tuned for more. In the meantime, be sure to comment, rate, subscribe. Visit Derek237.com. And until next time, I'll see you later. Titties.